Everybody, Rich with Prep You down here in the food storage locker. Um, Today's video. Um, don't normally, I really don't do videos like this. I don't like coming out with videos and doing what some people would say is fear mongering, uh, pushing a video that I want, scares people to death, and just for it to get clicks and just for it to go on. I don't like doing it. I think it's ridiculous. There's a lot of people out there that do that, and I just don't like doing that. But today's subject really has been in my brain for a while. I mean, we've seen it in the news about cyber attacks, the possibilities. There's movies. There's all kinds of stuff about stuff like this. And to me, the idea of a attack, this shit just got real over the last couple of months, and specifically over the last week or two. Now, I've been blamed in the past about not doing my research, so I'm going to let you know what my research is and how I came to this conclusion that a cyber attack in this country of major proportion is going to happen within the next year. No doubt. And if it doesn't, I'll make another video and I will apologize for it. But the signs are there. Okay? Very important people are telling us stuff, not coming out and just saying, who's going to do it, when it's going to happen, what's going to happen when it happens. But they're just leaving subtle hints, comments, actions, letting us know, be prepared. And that's what we're here for. That's at Prep You. That's what we do. Preppers University. We want to be prepared for anything. So let's talk about cyber attacks. Where's my research come from? Let me list my research, and I will list this in my comments. So you can go out there and you can check it out yourself. You can watch these videos, read the papers and stuff like this. But this is where it comes from. All right, the Dan Bongino Show on 12/12, episode 2148. Fox and Friends, 12/11. The movie Leave the World Behind. NBC News, August of 23. New York Times, 7/23. Wall Street Journal, 11/23. U.S. Border and Customs Patrol reports various dates over the last 3 years. World Economic Forum of 2026 and Washington Post 12/23. Like I said, don't have to take these down. I'm going to list them, and then you can go back and you can watch them and you can see what's going on. All right. So what do we know? What is out there that tells me something's happening? Well, we know Chinese affiliated groups have already attacked U.S. infrastructure. And what were those infrastructures? Just to list a few: water systems in Hawaii. U.S. oil pipelines on the West Coast were affected. The Texas Independent Power Grid was affected by cyber attacks outside this country, purportedly done by Chinese affiliated groups. Top U.S. advisors and government cyber attack officials have given stark warnings of more potential attacks. You hear that all the time. The border is constantly and increasing interceptions of military-age Chinese men who aren't coming across with wives and children. It's just them. And it's in groups of 8, 10, 12. Perfect sizes for sleeper cells, for people that are going to cause problems. So what's been in the news? Let me talk about what's been in the news on here. All right. Fox and Friends on 12/11 had a reporter, Alex Hawk from the Washington Post. She discussed PLA, China's cyber army, has infiltrated critical infrastructures accessed about 24 computer systems of critical entities. They have also started a disinformation campaign to divide U.S. citizens. The World Economic Forum back in 2026 discussed what they called a cyber pandemic. Must see. Dan Bongino dedicated an entire show to discussing the signs of a coming cyber attack. His show was on December 12th, 2023. That's episode 2148. It's on Rumble. If you don't have Rumble, I really suggest you get an account as an alternative to other sources. But that's the Dan Bongino show. And finally, I didn't know about this till a week ago. A new movie is out, and it's called Leave the World Behind. It's based off of a bestseller book called Leave the World Behind. And the funny thing is, the movie's technical advisor and executive producer, Barack and Michelle Obama. Hey, if you want to find out different stuff about what's going on in the world, access a former president. In comments, the director of the film, talking to President Obama, basically said what Obama told him about cyber attacks, where they're coming from, and the readiness scared the shit out of him. Important people telling us stuff, but not telling us stuff. All right. In June, hundreds of public and private companies were attacked. These were security firm reports to the U.S. government. In July, New York Times had an article about these firms being attacked and stated that the government is doing nothing about it. August of 23, NBC News, the same exact warnings and still no comments from the government. December 11th, China's cyber army has been infiltrating the U.S., and this came from the American Military News. Wall Street Journal, Dan Riley had an article that since October 1st, 30 people on the terror watch list have crossed over from China into America, and their crimes, they were disinformation specialists and terrorists. And that doesn't even count all the other countries. They would love to see something happen here today. A gentleman by the name of Eldridge Colby answers the question, why would China do that? China owns land here. China's a trade partner. He talked to people on the street. Again, that's Eldridge Colby, and there is an article, a video about this. Talk to people on the street in China. They don't like us. They still blame us, according to Eldridge, for wars 100 years ago, that America caused all their problems. Watch that video. It's so important. Like I said, the bottom line is very powerful people are trying to tell us something. One thing I want to let you know my background. I was a fireman for a long time, 35 years. And I worked specifically with the federal government. One of my jobs, along with many over the years, was on the hazardous material team. And I worked with weapons of mass destruction. My specialty, chemical and biological weapons. What they could be, how they could be dispersed, and what antidotes and what things we as firemen would have to do to protect the public. And I'm going to tell you something right now. Government does not have a plan to protect us. They have what's called the continuity of government. What does that mean? They don't care about anybody but them, especially them that are in Washington. And probably not even the lower level people in Washington. It's just the higher ups. That's all they care about. Continuity of government. Because of my work with weapons of mass destruction, I had a pretty good clearance. Matter of fact, I had such a good clearance that when the wife and family and I would go on vacation, we wouldn't stand in the regular lines. We didn't go through the regular safety checks. We went through special safety checks. People would just stare at us, and my wife would go, "Why are they staring at us?" I says, "Because we're being rushed through because of a high clearance that I have, because of what I do and the information that I share with back and forth with Homeland Security." And she goes, "Oh, this is a good thing." I says, "Yeah, we'll get to the airplane real quick. But let me tell you something about that. When 9/11 hit and I called my contacts, I couldn't get a hold of them. Phone lines were dead. Phone lines were busy. Nobody answered. Nobody answered for days. And why did I call them? Because when the first two planes hit and before Shanksville happened, the rumor was the third plane was coming to Chicago, and we needed to find out. Now, granted, I'm sure there were a lot of other fire departments calling, that guys that had the same clearance maybe that I have, but I couldn't get through. Katrina. When Katrina happened, I talked to several police officers, and Dan Bongino also talked with several police officers, not at the same time, probably not the same police officers, but I don't know. I asked them, "So let me know, how long did it take for civilization basically to break down and it was every man for himself?" They said 4 hours. 4 hours. When the levee started breaking, all hell broke loose. Anywhere from people trying to be saved, some people trying to save themselves, people looting, robberies, car thefts. It was a full-fledged panic down when that happened. So think about what a cyber attack across the country would be. Every man and woman and child for themselves. Basically, it's going to take 3 to 6 months, and that's why I always say make sure you have 3 to 6 months of food available. It's going to take that long for the government to get its shit together and help us out. There was a TV show on TV. That's why it's a TV show. And it was called Jericho. I don't know how many of you guys saw it. Gal saw it. If you saw it, if you didn't see it, watch it again. It shows a great example of what happens. That was a nuclear attack in the United States, perpetrated within the United States by United States people. Okay, but it kind of shows you what happens with civilization, how it breaks down and comes back up again. There's a lot of things you can do to protect yourself. Obviously, this back here is very important to have. Food that is packed like this is also very important. Much more shelf stable. Water, a way to heat water. If you lose gas, you need stoves. You need, if whatever you would take to go camping, you need double. All right, and propane and gas, fuel for your car, if they work. We've talked about nuclear blasts. There's a video I have about nuclear blasts and what it will do to vehicles. And in there, I read to you a report from the federal government that they did a test with modern cars about 5 years ago. And they set off an EMP in a building at these cars. I believe the statistic was 8 or 9 of the cars started without a problem. Because a lot of the electronics, if you think about it, gets very, very hot inside that engine compartment. And they're hardened electronics, and they're cased in heat resistant and also radio wave resistant couplers. which is all tested in private labs before it goes into service in all these vehicles. So chances are your vehicle is going to work. Now, getting fuel for that vehicle might be a totally different thing. If you have an EV, I think you're out of luck. So other things you need besides this and fuel and water and medicine is something to protect your stuff. You need firearms and ammunition, knives. If you don't like firearms, a billy club or something um, to protect you and your family and your stuff. And don't let people know you have this stuff. It's none of their business. Okay, you might want to say, hey, look at all my stuff, like that. Well, I know what you're saying right now, but Rich, you're doing it right now. And yeah, but the people on my block, we are all preppers and we all have our own stuff. And I've made sure of that over the last couple of years. Much to some of the wives' dismays, they understand now, gosh, it's really fun to go down into the food storage area when I run out of something because I forgot to put it on the list. See, it even helps when that happens. Another thing, a Faraday cage. You need a Faraday cage and you need to use your Faraday cage. When you put the stuff in your Faraday cage, you are going to have to bring it out and charge it every once in a while so it's available for you. A hand crank radio is a must. Get a hand crank radio, and they're on Amazon. Find a good one. You can research them, look at comments and stuff like that. That not only have a hand crank, but some of them will also, you can hand crank to charge your phone and other items, other devices, and they come with solar panels. A must. All right, those are some of the basics. Faraday cage, hand crank radio, because if you don't have a hand crank radio, you're not going to know what's going on, and you need to know what's going on. If you need more info on how to prepare, you can watch my videos. You can go to other preppers' site and watch their videos and stuff like that. If you want more information about what I'm talking, because I just hit the surface, the very top surface, because I didn't want to have this video go run any more than 20 minutes. You can go back and look at my comments and the shows, where they are, where the articles are from, how you can pick them up. I will tell you that some of the articles, to try to get them off the internet, if you go directly to the news sites, they're going to want you to subscribe. But you can give them a different way. Go to the library. Go to the library and pull out the Wall Street Journal, New York Times, Washington Post, and find those articles. Copy them and have them. And like we always say, keep your eye to the news. Always be aware of your surroundings. Don't let it catch you off guard. You just don't want that to happen. Being prepared means more than just having stuff. Being prepared means that your fuel tank's always full. You always have water. You always have a go bag. You always have your everyday carry bag. Your kids know where you are. You know where your kids are, no matter what their age is. My kids are in their 20s and the 30s, and I still want to know where they're at, just in case. And they prep. And they're the same way. Dad, where are you? Mom, what's going on? When anything comes in the news, we discuss it. And that's what you need to do with your family. Don't keep this a secret from your family, especially prepping. You don't have to tell them about cyber attacks and stuff like that, but I think they'll know. My wife's very in tune to this. She actually came to me a couple of weeks ago and go, hey, you heard about all these cyber attacks and that balloon that went over our country, right over the military places, and Washington didn't do anything about it. Well, there you go. They're not stupid. Share with them so they're prepared to do it too. So that is it. That is my case for that. I am almost positive that there is going to be a major cyber attack to this country within the next year. And if we get attacked and we go down, I see other countries making their move against other countries. China, Taiwan, Iran, Saudi Arabia, and the like. So thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. We're going to end this right at 20 minutes like I wanted to. So thank you. Always be aware of your surroundings. Have your food, water, medicine, and ammunition available for you to survive. And please prep like your life depends on it, because this time, if this happens, your life will depend on all this stuff and no one else is going to help you.